Barely 6 months after ending one set of strikes, the RMT union is launching another series of disruptions, clearly demonstrating that rail travel in Britain is unreliable and effectively worthless, unless, of course, you happen to hold shares in Avanti West Coast. And this the frustrating reality for passengers who are left stranded, football fans rerouting journeys, businesses grappling with delays, people trying to get back from from London this evening at the end of the New Year's festivals, all while Avanti's West Coast shareholders pocket a handsome £13.5 million dividend. The question naturally arises, how much must the public endure before someone stops this farcical cycle of strikes and mismanagement by not only unions and train companies, but also by the government, which stepped in to use taxpayers' money to subsidise the RMT arrangement? Is it as simply as the old adage goes, much wants more? Because let's examine the wider economic absurdity. Taxpayers are subsidising the railways to the tune of £12.5 billion annually. That's £400 per second. That's more, incidentally, than people are alleging that taxpayers are subsidising private schools. Despite the staggering sum, the trains do not run reliably. Pensioners are losing their winter fuel allowance, families are cutting back on essentials, and commuters are stuck in limbo, all to prop up a system that delivers neither value nor punctuality nor service. It's a miserable, desultory experience where you take your life in your hands. You have no idea whether you're going to arrive on time. You have no idea whether you're going to arrive. You have no idea whether, even if you book a seat, you're going to get one. The government claims to have modernised the railways, but passengers are asking, modernisation for whom? It certainly isn't for the public, whose fares continue to climb while their trains remain stuck at the station, and even when they travel, you're stuck in a corridor. The Avanti West Coast, despite being the poster child of inefficiency, has somehow found the means to hand over millions to shareholders. How can the same operator, plagued by strikes, cancellations, customer dissatisfaction, justify rewarding its owners while refusing to meet workers' pay demands? The RMT's strike action, ostensibly over rest day pay, is symptomatic of deeper structural failures. If it's calling strike action now, why didn't it call it earlier? Why didn't it engage with the government when it got such a payout as soon as the Labour Party got into power? Consider this. Avanti managers earn £300 or more per rest day, while workers are offered £250, a proposal overwhelmingly rejected by 83% of RMT members. Well, there we are. It comes down to the same thing we see again and again, where management gets paid more than the people who actually do the jobs. You see it in the NHS. Avanti's latest strikes, which began on New Year's Eve, are set to disrupt services every Sunday until the late May bank holiday. That's 21 days of chaos, if you want to count, with up to 100,000 passengers affected per strike day. Meanwhile, key routes such as North Wales, Blackpool, Edinburgh have no services at all on strike days. Football fans, families, tourists are advised to travel either side of the strikes. But what if there's no alternative? Is rail travel in Britain now contingent upon the whims of industrial disputes and the vagaries of the RMT? I mean, you know, if the RMT is so busy having tea and sandwiches in number 10 or number 11, why didn't it sort this out then? In opposition, Labour promised relentless focus on rail reform. Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander has since deflected responsibility, urging Avanti to get back round the table. This hands-off approach is hardly reassuring, especially given the financial and operational disarray across the sector. To end the over-reliance on rest day working, as the government puts it, would require hiring additional staff, something operators, mired in budget cuts and inefficiency, are reluctant to do. Instead, it seems both sides would rather perpetuate this cycle of disruption. The RMT, for its part, has been accused of holding the railways to ransom, but let's not forget their stated objective: to fight against the privatised chaos of a capitalist system that prioritises dividends over dependable service. The union's actions, while disruptive, reflect the frustrations of a workforce ignored by management. On the other hand, Avanti's failure to resolve this dispute underscores its inadequacy. When football fans cannot travel to matches, when families have to cancel trips, when businesses lose revenue, because businesses don't stop working necessarily over the weekend just because trains don't function then, the damage isn't just financial, it's cultural. And the railways, once the livelihood and the lifeblood of Britain, once the backbone of Britain, are now a liability. Ultimately, the Avanti debacle is more than a labour dispute. It's a parable of Britain's broken rail system. It's a parable of broken Britain, where billions are spent and the trains still do not run, and we're spending even more on HS2. For what purpose? It won't run either. Where passengers pay ever-increasing fares only to be told to stay at home. Where the public endures endless disruption while private shareholders reap the rewards. The government must ask itself, what have we gained? Trains don't arrive, strikes that never end, a public that's lost faith in the system. If rail travel is now a luxury afforded only to shareholders, like some sort of private education, then perhaps it's time for a fundamental rethink. As it stands, the RMT is right about one thing: much wants more. The question is, how much more can the British public take?